discuss today is who was Mamre, and why is he mentioned in the Torah? In Parsha Vayera, he comes up. So the verse reads like this: Vayera Hashem elav be'elonei Mamre. Hashem appears to him in the plains of Mamre. Hu yoshev petach ha'oel. He's sitting at the entrance of the tent, kechom hayom, in the heat of the day. Now, the story right now in the Chumash is about Avraham Avinu. Yet, if for some reason he's not mentioned in the pasuk, it just says that God appears to him and he's sitting in front of the tent. The only name that is mentioned in this verse is the name of Mamre, because the revelation that took place in Mamre's field. So the verse does mention Mamre, but it doesn't mention Avraham. And that's one of the questions we also want to address today. The beginning of a Parsha is like the beginning of a book. The rabbis explained to us, based on something else, that each Parsha is looked at like a book. When Moshe Rabbeinu says to Hashem, erase me from your book, so Hashem fulfilled that by erasing him from one of the Parshas, Parshat Tetzaveh. So we see that by taking Moshe's name out of the Parsha of Tetzaveh, it's like he erased Hashem's name from the book. Therefore, we see that in some way, each Parsha is like its own book. Based on that, we want to ask the question, if the Parsha here is like the beginning of a new book, or even the beginning of a new chapter, let's say, if each Parsha is like a chapter as well. So we don't start a story with a pronoun. We start a story by mentioning who we're speaking about, and then we address him in he. So the question is, why does this verse not mention Avraham at all? It just says Hashem appeared to him, and he was sitting in the tent. Say Hashem appeared to Avraham, and then say, and he was sitting in the entrance of the tent. To make it even worse, in a situation where we start off to talk about Avraham's story, and we don't mention him, but we mention Mamre, so why is he mentioned instead of Avraham? Avraham was like the Melech, and Mamre was a simple person, so we're going to mention his name and give him the kavod, and we're going to erase Avraham's name from the first pasuk. It's a big question. So, in order to appreciate the answer, let's understand who Mamre was and why is he mentioned. So the Chazal explained to us like this. When Hashem gave Avraham the tzivui, the command of doing Brit Milah, so Avraham had a question about the mitzvah. Now, of course, his question wasn't whether he should do it or not. Avraham was 100% devoted to doing whatever Hashem said. His question was a particular question in how to do it. Now, one of the explanations to what he was questioning, what he wasn't sure about, was whether to do the mitzvah befarhesia, to make it a public event, that the whole world should know about it, or whether to do it privately, more secretive, that it would be something that between him and Hashem. With that doubt in his head, he went to ask advice. Now, Mamre was a close friend of Avraham, and so when he went to ask him, so Mamre advised, do it befarhesia. If you're going to do the mitzvah, do it and make it public. And actually from here we have the custom of having a big party, having a Suda, and inviting many, many people to a Brit, because it's a tremendous simcha and it's a very public event. But the advice to make it public came from Mamre. So now with this in mind, let's take another look at our questions and the verse. It says, Vayera elav Hashem. Hashem appeared to him. And where? In the tent of Mamre. Why in the tent of Mamre? So the answer is that because Mamre gave him advice about doing Brit Milah, so the revelation right now is in Mamre's field. Now, why is Mamre's name mentioned? Why do we have to know about this detail? So, look at it like this. Avraham was trying to decide whether to make the mitzvah a public event or a private event. Mamre said, make it public. Let everybody know, what's happening. The mitzvah that Hashem gave you. So, in reward for Mamre helping that the mitzvah should be a tremendous Kiddush Hashem and a sanctification of Hashem's name and a big event, so Hashem said, I'm going to mention your name in the Torah and people are going to read and hear about you forever. With this answer, we can also appreciate why Avraham's name is not mentioned. Avram was considering to do it privately, which would have decreased the publicity of the mitzvah. Not to say that Avraham didn't want to do Hashem's mitzvah in the best way. Avram could have reasoned that if there's no benefit in making it public, so I don't have to show off. Avraham was a very humble person, and if it wouldn't bring added glory to Hashem, so why make it public? So he could have been wavering that maybe because doing Brit Milah was very radical, and people would look at him like, like he's weird, and it would maybe not be a Kiddush Hashem, but the opposite. It would maybe distance people from him. And he, of course, wanted to be mekarev, more people to believe in Hashem, so he thought maybe it's better to do it privately. Mamre understood that it was better to do it publicly, and he became the shliach of Hashem to help the mitzvah be fulfilled in the perfect and most ideal way. But nonetheless, Avraham was considering to do it privately, which would have been the decrease of the publicity of the mitzvah. So therefore, Mida Keneged Mida, Hashem said, I'm taking your name is not going to be included in the verse, which is decreasing from the recognition that you're going to get in the pasuk. So on the one hand, we're giving Mamre the greatest shevach and kavod, and his name is immortalized in our Torah because of his great advice and his hand in this mitzvah. And Avraham's name is being diminished. His name is taken out of the verse. Now, another idea we want to speak about and focus on in connection to all this is the great lesson that we take out from it, as I mentioned. When we have a purpose in this life to serve Hashem, to do Hashem's mitzvot, we have to understand that being a Jew in the world and doing what we're here for is not about me, so to say. It's not about me becoming successful, me becoming rich, me becoming famous. It's about Hashem. When we're concerned with Hashem's honor, and we're concerned with people understanding and seeing how great Hashem is and how great His Torah is, by leading by example, then we're doing our job. If we just do what we're supposed to, in a pleasant way, with a smile, and making a Kiddush Hashem, making people see that Hashem is great and Hashem ways are ways of peace, then we did our job. It doesn't mean we have to run out into the streets. By just living our simple life as a Jew, by taking on the mitzvot, even if the mitzvot mean that we're going to appear different and we're going to seem different, like Milah and other mitzvot, but we are true to them, and we realize that we shouldn't use those mitzvot as an opportunity to push away or separate from other people, but we have to do what we have to do, but at the same time we have to be pleasant. Then we can make the tremendous Kiddush Hashem, and the world will see how great the way of the Torah is through us and come closer to Hashem. May we be zoche to follow in Avraham's way, in Avraham's example, that he, on the one hand, was unique and he was separated from the entire world, as the Torah teaches us that he was one with Hashem, and he was called the Ivri because he was different from everybody else in the world in his time. He was on one side of the world and everyone else was on the other. So on the one hand, Avraham was different, and he did not mix and follow the ways of the people. He was absolutely unique. But on the other hand, he opened his doors and welcomed the entire world in to benefit from his goodness and his example, and of course to come close to Hashem and understand and benefit from Hashem's ways.